Well, I'm just sitting here, the sun is rising, and all these people passing by. The city sleeps, the city rises.
In this episode we have a massive 2 weeks where Luke and his mate Jase, who flies up from Melbourne, head off to tackle Cape York in the 4-wheel drive. While they're up there, my parents and son Jase come up to visit us so we can have a bit of a holiday in the sun together. Before Luke heads off, he has a few days with Mum and Dad where he takes Dad out crabbing and fishing, and they have a ball catching all the seafood that we can eat. What are we eating over here, Mum?
Beautiful fish that Joshy caught.
What sort is it, Joshy?
It is a Spanish mackerel.
Beautiful.
That is beautiful.
Cape York is located on the northernmost point of Australia, and it is a 4-wheel drive lover's heaven. For Luke, it was a dream to complete the old Telegraph track, a rough 4-wheel drive track accessible only in the dry season, with a reputation as one of the ultimate 4-wheel drive tracks in Australia.
Now down from Cooktown to Musgrave here. Still on the Richmond Road, but we're going to probably hit Dirt Road, I don't know, pretty soon I'd say. Crossing the Daintree Ferry, on the Daintree Ferry on the Daintree River.
What we didn't tell one family member was that he was going to. JJ was along for the ultimate boys trip. Unfortunately, there wasn't the sort of love that he normally gets at home from Luke, who likes to treat dogs like farm dogs. He would learn very quickly to fend for himself and make sure that he wasn't left behind. Day 1 was Port Douglas to Cooktown via the Bloomfield track. Things didn't necessarily start off as well as Luke had hoped.
Brushing my swag off, and I just washed my hands, all the sand that got blown over us all night here at bloody Archer Point that came off down here. I was just brushing off the sand like this, and I lost it. It went into the sand there. There wasn't a chance to find it, I thought. So Jason and I were packing up here, it's blowing its head off here. Started scouting through the sand for 10 minutes and I found it over there about 5 or 6 metres away. So I'm going to have to put that away so that I don't lose it, because I'll be in trouble. Like Jase, what's happening here, mate?
Had a bit of a blowout.
We broke the tap off the one of the water containers, so we've just dumped 20 litres of water in the back of the ute. So we're having a bit of a clean up. So after losing the wedding ring and luckily find it, and we've flooded the back of the ute. So we can only go up from here, hopefully.
While Jase and Luke were having their dramas for their first day on the road, we were not without our dramas back in Port Douglas ourselves. We had a little bit of a hiccup where I picked up my paddleboard that we had come up on the flight on the aeroplane with Jase, who went up to Cape York, and I've managed to fit it in the hire car, but I have no room for the kids or Jesse, so we've had to quickly book them a bus so they can get back up to Port Douglas. Completely forgot about the fact that I didn't have any roof rack, so it's a bit of a jumble this afternoon, but we're getting sorted.
Got all the army fellas here and they're training up here in Cape York at Han River Roadhouse. So day 2 we travelled 10 hours from Archer Point to Archer River Roadhouse before finally hitting the start of the old Telegraph track on day 3. Here it is, the old Telegraph track. This is the start of the old Telegraph track. Woohoo! The old Telegraph track is 150 kilometres approximately of corrugations, deep holes and river crossings that took us about 2.5 days to complete. So Gunshot Creek is famous for rolling and destroying vehicles, so I knew it was going to be a challenge. When we realised this wasn't actually Gunshot, we really got worried about what was ahead, especially when the 2 vehicles in front of us pulled out and turned around and went back to the main road via a detour. Driving at 10 kilometres an hour was slow going, but it wasn't long until we got to the exciting parts. What do you reckon we've done? 3 hours? We've done 30 k's.
No, it was
2.5. What time did we get on it? 11?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Alright, well that's 2 hours and 45 minutes.
And how far?
having a lovely little time at the markets, hanging out in Port Douglas, drinking sugarcane juice. When I look at these videos now, I'm pretty glad that we chose to stay back. So Joshy has declared that he will be going next time with the boys, rather than making his sister's sugarcane juice.
And please don't know a stranger can burst inside through the bridge.
Is he supposed to taste like lemonade? It's nice.
We'll have a look. So this is Gunshot Creek. Apparently someone's gone on the roof here somewhere. We don't know where. Jase is just going down for a look. Gunshot Creek has 4 options. The first 2 were vertical at 90 degrees. The third was near vertical at 80 degrees. And the last one was easy. Because we still needed our ute to finish the trip, we opted for the 4th one. That's mad. I wonder where he's come down, if it's this side or the other. Geez, even that one's mad too though. 10 minutes before we got to Gunshot, we passed 2 utes that had just winched a brand new Land Cruiser that had rolled over. If you want to see some awesome footage of 4-wheel drives rolling in Gunshot Creek, just YouTube Gunshot failures.
While Luke was traversing Gunshot Creek, we took the scenic railway up to a little town called Kuranda up in the Atherton tablelands. Climbing through rainforest, we were perched high up on the hill overlooking Cairns. Construction of the railway began in 1886, and unfortunately many lives were lost as numerous tunnels and bridges were built by hand, 15 hand-made tunnels. Once we got to the top, we had a look around the quaint little village of Kuranda, sampling the markets.
What is that?
The crocodile jerky. This one's emu jerky. I haven't tried my emu yet.
Then we took the Skyrail Rainforest Cableway back down. The cableway runs above the Barron Gorge National Park in the wet tropics of Queensland's World Heritage Area. It journeys through the world's oldest continually surviving rainforest on Earth, even older than the Amazon rainforest. I have to say it was amazing. Built by helicopters, this is not for the faint-hearted.
Oh, come on. The ute taped up for that river crossing we just did. You only got the tiniest amount of water in it.
Luke was certainly finding that Cape York was testing his four-wheel driving skills. From taping up the windows of the ute for the river crossings to traversing bridges that required a bit of skill.
Just that way a little. Whoa, 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 whoa. Straight, straight. Keep coming, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming!
But what he loved the most was so much more than four-wheel driving. The beautiful clear rivers, rainforests with red dirt, and of course, the watching of other people coming through the crossings.
Even though the tele track was nerve-wracking, it was awesome challenge yourself on each of these crossings. And then you'd trade high fives with total strangers and throw beers around and stand and watch the following vehicles as they crossed to see if they'd get through or need to be pulled out. The people on the track were of the highest quality. Everyone was there to help if anything went wrong and couldn't be more friendly. Gunner. Gunner. Awesome. Rio.
Hi, how are you?
He's got the best stories ever last night by the campfire. And then there are the characters like Jase's mate Tezza that you met along the way. After Tez had completed the track himself, he sat there for 5 days just watching everyone come through the crossing. You wouldn't believe, but this time last year, Tez was in a coma.
Woo!
This is the end of the Telegraph track. Thank God I could kiss this road. It was fun, but I'm ready to just get back on a road where I can do more than 10Ks, 5Ks per hour. After 5 days of 2 blokes sitting in a rattling ute, crossing rivers and battling the tele track, it felt like an achievement to hit the tip of Cape York. Where it was that windy, it would have blown the milk right out of your teeth.
This is the tip of Cape York up here. JJ, how do you feel about being one of the very few dogs coming to the Cape? Alright, we made it, Jase. Woohoo! So yeah, we're at the tip of Cape York. It's Jase.
Before we headed back south from the tip, we jumped on the ferry to check out Thursday Island. We were lucky enough that there was a local cultural festival on it, and we soon discovered that the island was a melting pot of Aboriginal, Torres Strait Islander, Japanese, Malaysian and Caucasian backgrounds. Thursday Island also played an important part in the Second World War to defend Australia from the enemy. Before we left the top of Cape York, we decided to try a hand at fishing in Jase. This was Stephen, one of the local kids. He was just fishing with a hand line, pulling up a lot more fish than we were with our fancy rods. Jase jetty here, boys are catching some live bait down here. Encouraged by young Stephen's fishing ability, we were determined to try our luck at fishing once again in Weipa before we left the Cape.
Righto, we're on.
Oh! Got off! What did I do wrong? Bugger!
Has he chomped the line again maybe, eh? No.
With a bit of guidance from our new Territorian friends, Maggie and Marcus, Jase and I actually managed to pull a few in.
Awesome.
Jase even got a 1.2 metre shark on a hand line that nearly took his finger clean off.
No. It's a lot of blood.
What did you say, cricket bat?
Oh, it is a little shark. Good work, Maggie. JD, get out. It is that a little black tip. That's what would have come.
Road train going through a lot of cattle, here at Musgrave. Wake you up, JD.
I'm awake.
So with Cape York completed, it was time to head back to civilization and head further south with the family. The Cape was an amazing experience, and I'd highly recommend it to anyone thinking of doing it. And I can't wait to go back again next time with Nicole and the kids.
Join us in our next episode where with Luke's newfound experience we start hitting some more four-wheel drive tracks around southern Queensland.